Rev up your engines!
Well, don't say I didn't warn you. Volvo has now landed a cheap Chinese EV in the United States. Okay, they're owned by Geely. It's a Chinese company, but they're calling them Volvos and importing them in the United States. And their window sticker for this little electric SUV is going to be $35,000. Now, I find this phenomenal because Volvo had a thing going with Polestar, but then that kind of fell apart, and Volvo was making its electric cars, right? Well, a guy brought me one last year. That was a $67,500 electric car, right? And I actually liked the car. If it hadn't been an electric car, I'd said, yeah, I'd think about buying one, right? But I'm not a fan of electric cars because I do a lot of long-distance traveling. There's no way I'm going to be driving those stupid things around. How can they go from a $67,500 car to a $35,000 SUV? Guess what? It's Geely. It's Chinese, right? But they can put the Volvo name on it because they own the company. Just like when Fiat owned Chrysler. They had the Jeep Renegade, and they had those ads, Renegade, oh, you're a Renegade. It was a rebadged four-wheel drive Fiat 500. It was just a Fiat, but they sold it as a Jeep because Fiat owned Chrysler and Jeep. They could call them whatever they wanted, right? So now the Chinese can sell their stuff, say it's Volvo, and try selling in the United States. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Here's what it looks like. Now you can see it's a smaller SUV, right? Everybody wants SUVs. As to whether they want electric SUVs, that's another story entirely. They'll be sneaking them in here. Oh, it's a Volvo. Oh, it's not Chinese. Yes, it is. The Chinese own them. And, there's going to be a way they can start sneaking those things in the United States, right? I guess because it's an electric vehicle, people aren't going to whine much. If they were mass-producing cheap gasoline cars in China and selling them here, people would be hauling bloody murder. But not that many people give a crap about electric vehicles other than the stupid government. So if they want to push electric vehicles, I guess Volvo can sell their Geely Chinese Volvos over here as electric cars and get away with it. Be interested to see if they put a tariff on it or not. Well, Mini has a new electric car out there. It's called the Mini Aceman electric SUV. Kind of a stretch to call something that small an SUV, but you can get away with murder these days, right? I've looked at them, and if you actually want to buy one, they're about $37,000 and up, right? You're getting a tiny electric car for that amount of money. All I have to say is, Mini is a company that has nothing but problems with their electronics. You're going to buy a fully electronic Mini? Hey, good luck to you. Now, the electric Cooper now is only 2 seats. This is a new one. It's only 2-door. This is a new one, the Mini Aceman, and it's going to have 4 doors, right? Because you really can't have a 2-door SUV. It kind of goes against what everybody wants. Everybody can pile in, easy to get in and out, right? So they're going to be 4 doors. And if you know anything about the history of Mini, okay, they're English, but BMW owns them. Generally, BMWs are endless money pits as they age. The Minis are exceptional. The Minis are even worse than the BMWs in terms of money pits as they age. The parts are just as expensive as BMW parts. They have problems. People don't know how to fix them, at least here in the United States, right? Now they're going to have an electric one out, right? I can't wait to see what happens with these. I'll probably be laughing all the way to Kingdom Come. Now, it's cheaper, but still, $38,000 and up for this tiny little electric car that's unproven. We'll see how many people will buy them and then continue to buy them and see what their resale value is like. I predict that if they do sell them in any massive volume, the resale value will be, people will find out, gee, it's a Mini, it's electric Mini, it falls apart. I'm going to sell it. And people, I don't want to buy that stupid thing. I read all about them. They're piles of crap, right? So yet another jump into the electric car fantasy world, this time by Mini. Check it out. Mercedes is going to have a 2025 electric G-Wagon. It's a Geladenwagen. Means people mover, right? Now, I find it hilarious. It's going to be a big, giant, monster electric thing. They're going to be $200,000 up when they finally sell them to people, right? But ask any mechanic, including Mercedes-Benz mechanics, and they'll tell you that the G-Wagons are the biggest piles of crap that Mercedes ever make. They fall apart. They cost a fortune to fix. I have seen ones that were originally $200,000, and they still look good 8 or 10 years later. But you could buy them used for 10, right? And that's telling you, endless money pit, baby. Stay away, right? Well, now they're going to have an electric version, and I predict that it'll be a bigger money pit than the regular G-Wagons are. Do a little research on Geladenwagens, the G-Wagons, and you'll find out they are absolute rolling piles of crap. And every single Mercedes mechanic I ever met would tell me the same thing. They'd say, whew, those things are rolling piles of junk, especially when they age. They just fall apart. They cost a fortune. And yeah, they're big. And of course, being as heavy as they are, man, those babies would tip over. So they're going to be limited electronically to 112 miles an hour. You can't get those things going 180 miles an hour. They're boxy. They'd flip right over. Even 112, I wouldn't want to be seen dead in one. You might be seen dead in one if you're driving 112 miles an hour, right? Big boxy things, they weren't made for that kind of speed. You put big electric motors, it'll be super fast. And hey, who knows what'll happen? But luckily, they're only going to make a few of them. So it's not like they're going to take over the United States and look out, here comes a G-Wagon. It's going to run into us and kill us. There'll hardly be any of them out there. They cost so much, and they're hardly going to make any of them. Now, they only make 11,000 G-Wagons every year worldwide. So there's a lot of millionaires out there, and they don't care. They buy them, right? But the average person, you're not going to be buying a G-Wagon anytime soon, unless you were like one of my foolish customers in Houston who bought a used one and then found out he had to put in 3 times what he paid for it if he wanted to fix it and drive it around. So, they talk about solar panels, the future. Here's another company that just went out of business. SunPower has ceased residential installation, has laid off 1,000 people. SunPower is one of the largest solar panel installers in the United States. It's a big deal. And here's what the CEO of the company says. We're winding down our SunPower residential installation locations and closing SunPower direct sales. We will reduce our workforce by approximately 1,000 people in the coming days. At the short transmission period, all operations from pre-installation through system activation will be handled by Blue Raven Solar. So they pass it out to another company to do the installation that people paid for, right? Who knows what kind of a job they're going to do. Great company, too. Listen to this. Guy in Pennsylvania, SunPower's installation partner, Add Energy, only installed 12 of 42 panels on the roof, and then they disappeared, along with the customer's $60,000 payment. The New Jersey-based Add Energy's phone number is even no longer in service. SunPower said to this guy, SunPower is not a party to this transaction. They're the people that used to install it. Well, we're not a party of it, but. And I see this with the solar stuff all the time. I've seen people have them, they weren't finished, but then they were finished, and then they broke within a year or two, and then, oh, well, the company said, that's not our fault, that's the installers. And then the installers are either bankrupt or they say, no, there's a problem with the unit. You got to get them to get you a new unit, and we'll install it, right? De-doop, de-doop, de-doop. Around and around they go. When people keep having a subcontractor, everybody blames everybody else, and you, as a consumer, is stuck in the middle. So use your brain. Don't put one of those things in. These companies are scumbags, fly by night. They'll do anything to get your money, and then, too bad, they'll just go bankrupt like this company is. We're not even going to make them anymore. Bye! But these other guys are going to handle it now. Bye! Well, yet another electric battery company seems to be going down the tubes this time. That's in Clarksville, where I live half the year, right? Microvast is laying off a bunch of people, and they say, we need $150 million more to open up our EV factory in Clarksville, right? They always want more government money to bankroll them. We need more, we need more, we need more, we need more. Oh, well, we don't have enough. They haven't even made a single battery there yet, right? But they want $150 million more. 3 years ago, they started the idea, right? Microvast said, we're bringing an EV battery plant to Clarksville, Tennessee. Well, this week, they're starting to fire people. They told them we're being, quote, terminated due to a reduction in force. Well, there's something that's a circular. You're being fired because we're firing people. That's the reason. We have to reduce our expenses. The expense reduction will involve workforce adjustments. Workforce, they're firing people, right? The plant's not even finished, and they already want more money. And then they say, if you give us $150 million in 8 months, we should have it up and running. These are businesses. Let them do it themselves. They are the taxpayers paying these foreign companies money to build electric batteries that probably nobody even wants. And here's the hilarious thing. The chief financial officer, Craig Webster, said, the Clarksville plant's about halfway there. We need another $150 million. The guy quit as the chief financial officer and left. Well, at least the people in Clarksville weren't too stupid, politicians, because they said by 2025 you have to have 80% of these promised jobs up, or you're not going to get your tax rebates, right? I'm sure they already got some kind of government stuff from the federal government too, but the local government gave them tax breaks, but they won't if they don't actually create these jobs by 2025. You know, the way it's going, it doesn't look like the thing will even be built by 2025, right? The chief financial officer left. Hey, this thing's a mess. I'm out of here, right? Debbie Haynes says, got a problem with my odometer, 2013 Honda Civic. I went in for a yearly inspection. When I looked, there was a strange A in front of the digital mileage indicator that wasn't there before. I thought it was nothing, but after the inspection, the A stayed there and was bothering the heck out of me. So I went to the dash settings, and the A is there, and the mileage started all over to 0. What's going on? There were 99,000 miles on the car. Now I can't keep track of the actual mileage. It's a Honda, right? So you got the odometer. Then you have A trip and B trip. For some reason, you're stuck on A trip. And when you reset it, when you push it, it automatically goes to 0. Right now, it's a 2013 Honda Civic. I don't know if you're the original owner. If you're not the original owner, maybe it has an odometer problem. There was a problem with the odometer reading. The guy might have just pushed the A, and the A was reading the odometer. You want to try to cycle through that whole system. A, B, and then nothing. Nothing should show your mileage, right? Now, if you go to nothing and there's nothing there, that means that your odometer was broken at some point in time. And he was using the A trip odometer for the mileage reading, which a lot of people do. I mean, what do you care? You want the mileage, how far you're going and stuff. You can use trip A or trip B. I've had a lot of people do that. If the odometer breaks and they find out it's going to cost them $800 for a new dash unit, they'll just say, I'll use a trip A or trip B for my odometer. What do I care? I can write down what it actually is, right? So try to keep cycling it till you get A, B, and then it should be nothing, and it should be the actual mileage that's on the car. If it doesn't do that, then the odometer itself's broken, and you, like I say, you probably just want to use A instead and add it to, say, well, it had 99,000 miles, and now, but then, of course, let's say if you bought it used, then it probably has more than 99,000 miles, because if the odometer broke and they turn trip A on, right, then that doesn't add what's already on the car. It starts at 0. So either way, you may have no idea what the real mileage is unless you're the original owner. And if you are, then the odometer broke. If you can't cycle it to A, to B, and then to nothing, and it should show the actual mileage. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.